And let's dive right into it. But let's check options first. Okay. Not many options, so we're good to go. Oh, we choose an investigation. The judge. Victims have all something in common and the motives seem clear, but which suspect could have done it? Balanced case, perfect for a first run. What? The Angel of Death, random victims, unknown motive. Weird case, slightly more difficult than the others. The Sandman. The victims may feel random at first, but there's a connection. Yet the motives might be hard to find. Dark and twisted case. Surprise investigation. The game will randomly pick an unsolved investigation. Random investigation. The game will randomly pick an investigation no matter if solved or unsolved. Huh. So this basically would warrant like 3 playthroughs of this game. That's pretty cool. But first we gotta see if it's really good and keeps us interested. But this is interesting. These options already are interesting. I think we're gonna take the balanced one that is perfect for a first run. Oh, difficulty mode, story. Money will be easy to get by. The investigation will be easier. Every action will take less time for a chiller experience. Balanced. The way Nightcall was designed. Hard. Money will be tighter. The investigation will be harder to solve. Every action will cost more time for a more challenging experience. We're gonna go with balanced. Yeah, I don't even know how this game works yet. So probably should go with balanced. Here? Sir, can you hear me, or do I need to speak up? Yes, speak up. Is this okay with you? Is my voice loud enough? Why did I think this game was gonna be voice acted? Sir, you just spent 2 weeks in a coma. The world bounces around around your head. You need a moment to understand its meaning. Coma? The word scratches along your throat. Yes, you were the victim of an assault. The word resonates in your head. Victim. You are aware a serial killer is currently on the loose in Paris. You feel the contents of your stomach crawling up your throat. The judge, as the police called the killer, assaulted you. The bullet touched your liver and, in most circumstances, it would have been fatal. We chose to put you up in an induced... Her voice becomes more distant, fades. You taste bile at the back of your mouth. Your head is burning. You hear a whistle in one ear. Your fingers move to your wound. Underneath the bandages, you can feel hard skin. It is incredibly painful. Did they... I'm sorry? Did they catch the judge? No. What about my passenger? He was dead before you even got out of your cab. The doctor is silent for a second, a very awkward second. She hesitates. The police would like to see you as soon as possible to ask you some questions. After all, you're the only one who survived the judge. Noise in the hallway attracts your attention. You try to turn your head to no avail. You need to rest. She leaves the room. Her voice resonates in the hallway. I don't care, he's the only witness. Another female joins in, a strong authoritarian voice. You can't clearly make up what she's saying. A strange feeling washes over you. It's not pain, not fatigue, some odd combination of the two. Before being in this hospital room, you'd never realized that anger was made of a combination of pain and exhaustion. Anger. A feeling you know all too well. Days go by, and a month later. Okay, here we go. Well, look, I've got a bit of a problem. A real problem, that is. You have a pounding headache. It's your first night behind the wheel since the attack. Are you listening to me? You catch your boss's eye in the rearview mirror. Yeah. He stares at you for a second or two without speaking. Sometimes I wonder what goes on inside your head. You always seem so far away. I'm listening. Okay. Watching you closely, trying to make out what's going on in your head. You know I'm worried about you, don't you? I know. You're like a son to me, you know. I know. And you know he's about to tell you the story of his taxi fleet again. When my father died and left me the store, I could have sold it. I could have retired, gone back to the old country. Let him go on. But I decided to start a cab fleet with the money he left me to hire the guys from the neighborhood. And that's why I've got 45 guys like you working for me. His hands flutter in the air. Though none of them are any match for you. He smiles. His voice suddenly takes on a serious note. Hey, Shabtai, how are you doing? You got exploded? What do you mean? I got exploded? What does that mean? Do you want me to go over everything again? He points to the equipment on the dashboard, the meter, the GPS. You haven't been in a taxi for weeks. Maybe you do need a little refresher. That's probably the tutorial and I'm gonna take that. Yeah, good idea. Right then. Well, first the map. You spot potential customers and try to guess where they'll be going, then you decide. When a customer orders a taxi, if there's no one else around, you have to go pick them up. He shrugs. That's the way it goes. It's business. No problem. Oh, I was in the hospital? Oh, I got shot. I got shot in the liver. No problem. The other affair is you look at the map and decide whether or not you want to take them. And then, you drive. He flashes a quick, mechanical smile. You know it well. When he talks about work, he talks about work. That's all. When your shift is over, we do the numbers and... His voice trails off as if searching for the right words. And that's all. It's pretty simple. There's no reason why you can't do it. Oh right, no overtime. We're in France here, and there are rules, regulations. You might not see it that way, but no one likes having a driver who hasn't slept for 24 hours. He looks away. Something's been bothering him since he got into the cab. Anyhow, you know the ropes, you get it, and know you're going to do a good job. What's the matter? Your boss keeps quiet for a while, as if he's hesitant to speak, and then... Shapte says, that's not good, I like liver. Yeah, having a liver is good. Indeed. I like mine too. And the boss says, I don't think it's a good idea. You shouldn't be driving. The murderer is still out there, and we think he's going to come back for you. We? Your colleagues. I do too. Anyway, I'll let you get back to work. Every minute spent in your taxi is a minute lost. He gives you a smile, half ironic, half serious. Have a good evening. The sarcasm in his voice is palpable. Right. You have a good evening too. He'll spend the rest of the night dealing with problems and drivers. You wonder how and when the guy ever gets any sleep. Your boss opens the door and exits the cab. You watch him cross the street and enter the fleet garage. A couple of colleagues are milling about. Taxis are coming and going. They all ignore you, consciously or unconsciously. You are branded. You sit there a moment, then turn the key in the ignition. The hum of the engine sends a tingle down your spine. It's impossible to describe how you miss that feeling. It's back to the night shift, back to life. Despite the attack, despite it all. Okay. Oh dear. Oh, so the time doesn't count while I'm looking around. Okay, that's good. That gives me some time. Oh dear, that's a big map. Okay. Who could we pick up? This guy. Oh god, it took an hour to get to him? Okay, accept. The door opens and your passenger collapses into the back seat. His eyes are hidden behind a pair of large dark glasses. His clothes reek of sweat and booze. A clubber. He mumbles his destination and you start driving. A few words are exchanged: the weather, taxes, traffic. Then you can tell it's coming, the inevitable conversation about the killer. Some bits of information, rumors, things overheard. You make a mental note of what you've heard. Who knows, it might come in handy. New clue available in your room? Your mind wanders. Your eyes vaguely scan the store windows. The sodium light coming off the street lamps feels like it's dripping into your brain. You're falling asleep. You need a bit of music to keep you awake. Ask your passenger? You glance at your passenger. You mind if I put a little music on? He waves his hand as if to say, who cares? You turn the radio on, pressing on the dial to find a station you like. 80s rock ballad, too soft. Behind you, your passenger is snoring, barely, but you can hear him. Atonal classical music sounds like the orchestra is badly tuned. Right, not tonight. Two journalists discussing new evidence in the investigation into the judge's murders. The information they share, salon talk, nothing more, seems important nonetheless. An ad interrupts the torrent of words and you change the station. Classical music again. The flute grates on your ears. Electronic music. You like the rhythm, but just aren't in the mood. Stop. You lift your hand from the dial. The music plays on. Not bad. Turn it up so I can hear better. I didn't want to wake you. His voice sounds like it's coming from a deep cavern. I wasn't sleeping, just sobering up. He leans forward. Not bad at all. You hear the touch of an accent, probably an American, but someone who's lived most of his life in France. Leave it on until they say the musician's name. The music continues. There's something turning in the background, a persistent melody that gets higher and higher. Your client mumbles. I bet. The song is coming to an end and the announcer, in a piercing foghorn voice, throws out the name of a DJ you've never heard of. DJ Blunt. I knew it. He famous? Yeah, quite actually. I taught that dude everything he knows. Everything. In '94, at a party at the Rex Club, there was this kid who started buying me rounds. He waves his hand around. A kid, no older than 17. I thought he was hitting on me. He chuckles. He would have been disappointed. He shakes his head. No, he wanted me to teach him how to spin. I told him no, but you can watch. And that's exactly what he did every week until we moved to the Osiris. He sold X to pay his way in. He briefly snickers. And now he's on the radio. Silence fills the cab. Weighted silence. You can tell your passenger's mind is spinning. You know what he did this summer? He was the opener for the soccer championship at Stade de France. It was huge. Wonder what people think if they knew he was selling drugs at 17. He lowers his voice a bit. If they only knew. Your passenger clams up. Shabtai says, him not real cabbie, he speaks the same language as his fare. Yeah. Keep an eye on the road, I guess. You notice a woman crossing the street at the crosswalk. She speeds up as she walks by two men talking loudly. We ran into each other in Ibiza 4 or 5 years ago. You almost jump at the sound of his voice. I was spinning in this little club. Yeah, really little, but it was something. He totally ignored me, of course. Even with those dark glasses, you can see how angry he is. DJ motherfucking cunt. He suddenly starts waving his arms around. He rummages through his pockets as he says, your radio. Can it take a flash drive? You glance at your radio. You don't really know what he's talking about. I don't know. No worries. He lays his phone in the space between the two front seats. Listen to this. It's what I played tonight. It's mine. He sets his phone to play. But you know, people were barely dancing. A drum machine playing a hard-edged beat in the background. They were talking, taking each other's picture. 4 notes start to dance in the cab. They barely touch, never kiss anymore. A perfect dance beat becomes progressively audible. All that. A purely electronic crescendo plays. Is over. There's a break in the music. Synthesized strings calm the song down without slowing it down. At least. The song is getting intense again, explodes as your passenger drifts off. I got people dancing. The song keeps going for another minute, then stops. Your passenger doesn't budge. You drive to the rhythm of his snoring. The sound fills the cab. Ideas are bouncing through your head like they do every time you find yourself alone. This guy in the backseat is too old to be young. You look at your own hands. They look like they're suddenly aging in time lapse. You close your eyes for a second. Only a second. When you open them, you've reached your destination and have pulled over to the sidewalk. You tap your passenger's knee as he wakes with a start. Shit. Yeah? We're here, sir. Oh, yeah, great. He rummages through his pockets and hands you a few rumpled bills for fare. Thanks, I hope you liked it. Silence. The music, my music, the song I played you. I should have been in the spotlight, you see. 15 minutes of fame. Just a minute off. He stifles a burp. You hear him mumble as he leaves the taxi. Those whiskey and oranginas really screw with my system. You see him stagger toward his building. It takes him several tries to get the door open. He finally disappears inside. You heave a long sigh. Okay, come on. Yay! We did our first cab ride. And we got a tip. Hi, Aiko Dimitro. Hi, how are you? Nice to see you. Okay, let's take this. Okay, what else we got? Who are you? Aiko Dimitro says fine. Yeah, I'm doing well, Just came back from work and off to streaming. It's really hot here, so this is gonna be a hell of a day. Oh, she's going far. The passenger gets into the cab and gives you her address. Her voice is muted, far away. You start up the cab. She appears rather meek, subdued, like she's about to fade away. You look up at her. She returns your gaze, but she's not there. It's as if you weren't looking at an actual person, but at a silhouette instead of the shape of a human being. Everything all right? Your question surprises her. Yes, I'm fine. Thank you. Michael Dmitro says you are a taxi driver. Yeah. I'm a taxi driver who survived an attack of a serial killer who killed my passenger, and apparently I'm also one of the suspects now. So I kinda need to find the serial killer while driving around people. We'll see if we find one. Her eyes in the rearview mirror tell another story. You seem preoccupied. Your passenger flinches. She's obviously uncomfortable. No, it's nothing. I was thinking about my thesis. Lately, that's all I think about. Your thesis? Yes. Not another word. She turns her head slightly, as if thinking about something unpleasant. What's the subject? The progressive nuns of Ramsay Abbey at the dawn of the industrial era. The air in the cab seems icy. Sounds very specific. Extremely, not too much so, no doubt. Well, too much so, no doubt. My field of research is terribly limited and... how should I put it? She sighs. It's deadly boring, a subject that no one's interested in. My thesis supervisor for a start, my parents, my ex, and worst of all, even me. She stares at you. The subject is a trap, it's never been explored, and it informs our perception of women in the 18th century. But no one is interested in it. That's how it goes. I got used to my thesis, to the subject. Doctoral theses are rarely interesting, you know. But mine? I think I've hit rock bottom. You shouldn't say that. I don't need your pity. Okay. She speaks in cool, clipped tones without any animosity. You find it disconcerting. I chose the path I'm on. I am entirely accountable for it. She hesitantly lifts a hand. But I'm the one who chooses my thesis. Me and no one else. To be honest, it will no doubt be the only thing that remains of me when I die. What do your friends think? My boyfriend dumped me 3 months ago. He said I was spending too much time on my thesis. But the truth is, it was the thesis itself that was the problem. He thought it was stupid, a waste of time, boring. He wasn't exactly a feminist. He was pretty old-fashioned in a way. I knew it. I could see it coming. And my parents? How should I put it? A wry smile tugs at the corner of her mouth, as if she enjoys the thought of seeing loathsome people suffer. My parents think... Her voice falters. She's unable to go on. It takes her a few seconds to pluck up the courage to speak again. My parents think I've made a mess of my life. I know they do. They haven't said so, of course. They are there for me, they help me, but deep down they know it's too late. I'm 28, I'm doing a doctoral thesis on 18th century nuns. My brothers went to top business schools and earned MBAs. They're married and have children. And me? I'm compiling pages and pages of information on nuns. You pull up to the passenger's address, an opulent-looking building in the 16th arrondissement. The young woman is perfectly still, seemingly paralyzed. I am very grateful to you for having tried to cheer me up. Without success, but I really appreciate you trying. A trace of a smile plays across her lips. You believe that everyone has a purpose in life. She shrugs. I don't. She hands you the fare, then exits the cab without a word. A moment later, she's walking away, heading towards her building. You sit there for a moment, then start up the cab. Hey. Didn't get any information out of this ride. The door suddenly opens and a woman gets into the back seat. Having a good night? For a second, you freeze. It's one of the cops working on the judge's case. She grins at you. Her voice creaks. You remember seeing her at the hospital. Something already bothered you about her there. You know, it's actually pretty crazy. For weeks, I've been saying to myself there's something off about you. Something not so nice. I dug around, mulled it over, bugged all my fellow cops about it. Because I was sure you lied to us. Let her keep going. She has a cold sneer on her face. I'm going to be frank with you. She leans over to you. I don't think you're the judge, nah. I just can't picture it. She squints like she's trying to make you out from far away. Like you'd have gone to the extent of hurting yourself. Yeah, but between us, it's a bit of a stretch. She stares at you. But not enough of a stretch for my chief to stop going on and on about you. Seriously, he talks about you all the time. If I didn't know better, I think he had a crush on you. She smirks. No, I think he's more interested in your profile. In prison at 17. An icy chill fills your gut. And for murder too. You open your mouth but nothing comes out. Since you got out, you've kept a low profile, but you're lying about your name and your address. I checked. It's normal, you'd say. If they get word of your time served, no loan for your permit, no lease for your car. Meaning, no second chance at life. Her voice beams softer, almost warm. I personally like guys who want a second chance. No, I like guys who fight for a second chance. Basically, I like guys who are willing to work for me. She leans forward, her shining cat-like eyes narrowing. My chief wants to go to the prosecutor with the first and last name with evidence. Actually knowing him, he's not so hot on evidence. So, I'll give you info. Victims, suspects, medical reports, some photos that are a bit... She makes a gagging noise. You have to be discreet. Keep it between you and me. Interrogate, ask questions, dig around. I've never done this. She shrugs. Don't worry. You're already keener than half the squad. And don't forget, I'm not asking you to make an arrest and deliver the killer wrapped up with a bow in front of the station, okay? You're no Batman. You're just here to get me more information. She rummages around in her pockets for what seems like forever. Here, take my card. I'll call you in 3-4 days, just to check in. We'll chat. And I'll let you know if I have any new info. She takes on a didactic, paternalistic tone, like she was giving you a list of recommendations for the 100th time. Don't get caught. Don't get arrested. Also, I wouldn't recommend trying to leave Paris. I know what you look like, and I know who your friends are. You can either be the solution or the problem, my friend. She takes a minute to scan your face, your emotions. If I have to, I'll go check in on you you know who. Her smile is biting. That reminds me, she know you've done time? You shake your head. She snickers. Oh, my little dirtbag, you cover your tracks well. I did what I could. Yeah, if you say so. She sighs in a tired, exaggerated way. Don't try to mess with me, man. If things don't go well, I'll turn you in. I'll send your picture to all my friends in the media and every asshole in Paris. Your picture with your name on it, your real name. Anyone close to you will have their places searched. They'll be put under house arrest, spend nights in jail. You have any idea how tense things are with that fucker's trial underway? You sigh. You know just what she's trying to get at. Come to think of it, your last names are almost the same. You could be brothers, actually. I'm nothing like that terrorist. She smiles. Let me tell you, with that face of yours and your handle, they'll welcome you with open arms. Say nothing. It takes on a serious tone, businesslike. I want to catch this killer personally. I want to drag him to court, ruin his fucking life with a bang. I can't botch this case, you got me? And neither can you, right? Obviously. Well, great then. We see eye to eye. So you can just say you're my informant, my CI. You ripped open your gut. You saw your own insides. You were in a coma. Yeah, you have plenty of reasons to want to get back at him. She furrows her brow. Yeah, I think you're actually going to do what I tell you to do. You investigate, ask questions, listen to all the rumors, you come up with that list of suspects. She lays her hand on the door handle and freezes. Oh right, and don't get fired. Without this cab, you're worth nothing to me. You glare at her. Say nothing. She puts her hand up and you can hear the words behind it. This conversation never happened. I'll make sure you get more intel tomorrow. I'll find a way. Until then, not a word to anyone, obviously. Not a word. The door opens, squeaks, and slams shut. Fucking bitch. You sit alone for a while. Teeth clenched, dry-eyed, ears buzzing. Shit. On the back seat, the cop left a pile of papers. Shit. Key in the ignition, motor running. Radio on, crackles. You turn it off and start driving. Talking to passengers might unlock new documents and clues for your investigation. You will find them back at your studio after your shift. Echo Dimitro says you are now kind of detective? Yeah. We're a civilian detective. Sort of. Almost undercover. But we have no choice. 6 clues discovered, available in your room. You take a second to enjoy the silence of your studio apartment. Outside, the city is slowly waking up. You can still hear the hum of the taxi buzzing in your ears. You throw the files Bussett gave you on the table. On the wall, you hung up the big corkboard where you used to pin up photos of your nephews. They've been gone since you got out of... Your plan is simple. Jot down all the pictures of evidence and connect them to the suspects. The guilty party won't necessarily be the one with the most evidence against them, but the one with the most compelling evidence against them. It's like you're building a story about each suspect, trying to understand their motives. understand how he or she got into this situation.